This is my response to William's question set 3. Question 7. Do you plan to visit other countries in the future? Will language be an issue for you? Um, as I mentioned in my other video, my girlfriend speaks a couple of different languages. She lives on the other side of the country at the moment, but when she's done with grad school, eventually she'll come back here, and we have plans to go visit other countries. One of them being Japan, which she is conversational in Japanese, so I think she'll get us by. Another couple of our goals are to visit, South America and Spain. She's fluent in Spanish, and I'm working on it. I can understand Spanish, but I don't speak it well. So it might be an issue, but I think if I lean on her, we'll get by. We probably have some other travel plans as we get older, but I feel that if you put in a little bit of work, you can get the basics down. In whatever country, if you buy some books or take some introductory courses, it's enough to get you by for a visit, for a week or two. So I don't think it's going to be a huge issue, but I think just like with anything, just prepare yourself a little bit and it'll be a lot easier. Question 8. Have you ever been frustrated by not understanding conversations and culture issues that happen right in front of you? The only foreign countries that I visited where language was a huge issue was Italy. Not a ton of people seem to speak English, and the ones that do, they don't really, they're not accommodating. I think that when you visit some countries in Europe, they want you to try their language. That was something I noticed. Like, if you tried, they would help you through it, but if you just kind of bark English at people, they're kind of turned off by it, and they kind of pretend they don't understand you, and they kind of shut you down. I wouldn't say it's frustrating. I understand. I get it. I wouldn't want somebody to come here and kind of treat me like that either. So, no, I haven't been frustrated. I think it was understandable, and I carried a dictionary around, and if you try, people kind of usher you through it, and I think that's respectable. I think if you're visiting a country, you should respect their culture and language enough to at least give it a shot. Question 9: If you could fix language education in South America, what would you change? Based on our reading, I don't feel that I know the situation enough based on our reading. There was 15 pages of giving us a brief overview. I don't really know what it's like down there, so I think it's arrogant for us to try to fix something that we don't understand. I think it's difficult enough to fix language education in the United States, where we actually know what's going on. I think that's a difficult enough issue. So I wouldn't try to pretend that I can start fixing language education down there. But to kind of answer the question in a more broad sense, I would say, I think access is everything. If you can afford to have teachers that will help, indigenous kids, learn both languages, and the kind of prevailing languages of the area, and also preserve certain languages, indigenous languages, that would be ideal. But I think fix is kind of a funny word in that you're solving all the problems, and to be honest, I don't understand them well enough. Question 10: When you look at the previous sessions when we have had on education in the USA, Finland, Rwanda, and now South America, have your feelings and understanding of the importance of your current education changed, and how? My current education, being so close to graduating at UW-Whitewater, and having, I've taken a broad range of courses. I can't say that the importance of my current education has changed. I would say that I have certain feelings about what we've covered, but I wouldn't say they're absolutely related to my education. I thought the Finland unit was especially eye-opening. I think that their method of making school less competitive and just kind of making it this thing that kids can, explore their education how it best fits them, and make it less competitive and make it more about make them a little bit more independent and not so rigid the way that the United States is. In terms of the other places, Rwanda and South America, I think those were both kind of focused in on certain issues. Like the unit about Rwanda was more about ethnic isolation and kind of who writes the books on what's taught. And with South America, that unit, this unit is kind of based on language barriers. So I guess I could touch a little bit more on the language barriers here. My job, I work in education policy to an extent, and ELL and ESL is kind of a big deal, especially with the growing Latino population in our country. And I do feel like those kids need help. I don't think that we should just ignore our Spanish-speaking population. I think that there needs to be when such a large population of our population in the United States speaks a certain language. I think that we need to acknowledge that and act accordingly. So, in terms of my own education, I don't think these sessions have any effect on how I feel about it, but in terms of how I view education from a policy standpoint for my job, I've learned a couple of things that, I'll think about when, examining policies and how we can make education a more enriching and, to an extent, progressive thing for our kids and their future from now on.